Hello, ladies and gentlemen, YouTube Death Knight Paranoid coming at you with a patch notes video. So we have a continuation for Diablo's 30th anniversary. The patch, they go into maintenance August 11th for 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Pacific time for Oceania, East Asia, Southeast Asia, and Europe servers. And then August 11th, 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. for Americas. So without further ado, let's get down to it. So we have the Darkening Decades limited time event from August 12th to September 1st. We'll be able to fight Bale, be able to claim Ashwold Wraith cosmetic set for multiple classes, aspirant keys, legendary crests, and other valuable rewards that are free. And then we have Worldstone Corruptor boss fight and Darkening Decades. Play through the Destruction's End dungeon and fight through 2 Elder Rift modifiers. Defeat the final boss for your rewards. Then every 5 minutes, 10 portals will spawn through the library Zoltan Cole at the following times: 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. server time, and then 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. server time. Each portal closes once a group enters. Once inside, try to find and defeat the prime evil Bale, who'll be powered with 3 random modifiers. Then we have Avarice returning from August 12th to August 25th. It's just the treasure goblin king guy or whatever he is. He's coming back and we'll be able to fight him. So they have new wings, materials, and future updates. There will be a new series of wing materials: Frost, Mother of Pearl, and Void Realm. Then also some that will not be able to be obtained will be Mirror Glass, Spectrum, Crystal, and Astral Prism. If you already have any of them with this, they will remain on it. You could keep them and continue to be used. They can no longer, the ones they're getting rid of can no longer be locked during wing customization, nor can they be obtained through random refinement. There is a new feature, favorites. If you have a wing score above 8,000, it'll lock a favorites feature. Up to 4 refinement records can be selected and added to favorites. Once added, they will be removed from the refinement history and permanently preserved. If you already have a wing score above 8,000 before this update, you will automatically have this feature. All right, so we have new legendary fixes. So we have Barbarian Tectonic Rip main hand. Leap also deals 12% increased damage for each enemy hit up to a maximum of 48%. Roar Chop offhand. Demoralize also grants you a shield for 3 seconds equal to 4% of your max life for each enemy hit. Up to a maximum of 20%, cannot occur more often than once every 4 seconds. Throng Seeker, chest. Furious Charge also increases your damage done by 5.7% for 3 seconds for each nearby enemy at the end of the attack, stacking up to a maximum of 28.5%. Flood of History, pants. Furious Charge now charges to a target location, knocking enemies back along your path to the destination. Afterward, an ancestral spirit slams down on the location, knocking enemies airborne and stunning them. Furious Charge damage increased by 18%. Pillage Pulse, head. Demoralize now unleashes a deafening roar that damages nearby enemies, dealing increased damage to closer enemies. Demoralize damage increased by 18%. Polished Pestles, shoulders. Leap now grabs nearby enemies, carrying them with you as you jump to a target location, slamming them into the ground and damaging and stunning them, dealing increased damage for each enemy grabbed. Leap damage increased by 18%. Then we have Blood Knight, Jewel of the Sun, main hand. Skewer no longer conjures spears that erupt from the ground, Skewer now conjures spears that erupt from the ground, damaging and knocking enemies into the air. Additionally, using a dash skill enhances Skewer, increasing its damage and the time enemies are knocked into the air. Skewer damage increased by 18%. Mourn Flare, offhand. Wave of Blood now empowers you, causing your dash skill to unleash a wave of blood behind you that damages and knocking enemies into the air. Wave of Blood damage increased by 18%. Bloodwalker, chest. Transfusion now removes total loss of control and knockbacks, granting you an umbral shield that absorbs damage and stacks when using a dash skill. Transfusion cooldown reduced by 7.2%. Umbral Steps, Swarm of Bats. This is for the pants. Umbral Steps for the pants. Swarm of Bats also increases the damage dealt by your next skill used within 4 seconds by 21%, stacking up to 3 times. Bloody Recompense, head. Wave of Blood also causes enemies to take 28.5% increased damage for 3 seconds when it afflicts them with total loss of control or knockback. Pest Control, shoulders. Swarm of Bats now causes you to dash forward, dealing damage to enemies within your path. and gaining additional benefits with each successive cast. Swarm of bats damage increased by 18%. Huh. Interesting. Crusader, Inquisitor's Brand, main hand. Falling Sword now leaps to a target location, damaging, silencing, and marking enemies with explosive repose, which explodes, dealing additional damage when the marked target is hit with skill damage. Falling Sword damage increased by 18%. Blazing Standard, offhand. Holy Banner's cooldown reduced by 0.5 seconds when you take damage. Cannot occur more often than once every 2 seconds. Hauberk of the Lion, chest. Condemn now grants you Spreading Light, blasting you with Heaven's Light to increase the range and damage of the attack. When spreading light fades from you or you cast Condemn again, it causes an explosion of light dealing damage to enemies within the area. Condemn damage increased by 18%. Zealous March, pants. Condemn also deals 57% increased damage with its initial attack. Cannot occur more often than once every 3 seconds. Radiant Beacon, head. Holy Banner now plants a banner of faith to protect you while you remain within its area. If you would die, it said you will be teleported to the banner's location, cleansed of all harm effects, and be instantly healed. Holy Banner cooldown. Oh my goodness. Oh man. Oh my gosh. Deliberations and shoulders. Falling Sword also increases your movement speed by 40% for 2.6 seconds. Well, yeah. Demon Hunter, Matron of Vengeance, main hand. Multi-shot now empowers you, allowing it to be recast multiple times, shooting shells that explode on impact, dealing damage to all nearby enemies. Bloodstained Legacy, offhand. Spinning Chakram now empowers you, launching a cone of solid blades that damages knockback enemies to hit and causing your skills to also launch the same volley of solid blades with each cast. Spinning Chakram damage increased by 18%. Monolith of Wrath, chest. Smokescreen now deploys a smoke bomb that grants you invisibility and causes enemies within the area to have reduced vision and movement speed. Additionally, damaging enemies within the area triggers a dust explosion, dealing damage. Firebrand, spinning pants. Spinning Chakram also applies Chakram mark, increasing your damage dealt to marked enemies by 10% for 6 seconds. You deal an additional 20 damage when attacking a marked enemy 3 times. Additional damage cannot occur against the same enemy more often than once every 0.5 seconds. Last Strike, head. Multi-shots critical hit chance increased by 24%. Sharp and sharper shoulders. Spinning Chakram also shatters the enemy's Spinning Chakram also shatters the enemy's armor, increasing the damage they take by 24% for 3 seconds. Druid, Eternal Cycle, main hand. Raven Swarm now empowers you, increasing your movement speed and causing your primary attack to release a raven that travels forward and back to you, dealing damage to enemies along its path. Raven Swarm damage increased by 18%. Flesh Sower, offhand. Summon Oak Sage now summons 2 Oak Sages to launch smolder seeds at nearby enemies when using your primary attack. Ancient Mantra, chest. Fire Tornado also increases your critical hit chance by 7.6% for 2 seconds when it hits an enemy, stacking up to 3 times. Silent Observer, pants. Summon Oak Sage also increases your primary attack speed by 28% for 4 seconds. Birds of a Feather, head. Fire Tornado now empowers you with Molten Grasp, causing your primary attacks to explode, damaging and burning enemies. Order and Murder, shoulders. Raven Swarm also increases your primary attack speed by 30% for 2 seconds when it hits an enemy, stacking up to 3 times. Monk. Repose for no other, main hand. Shield of Zen now grants you an absorbed shield that refreshes the shield's duration and stacks its absorb value when hitting enemies with a knockback effect. Rebounding Spur, offhand. Flying Kick's cooldown is reduced by 0.8 seconds when it hits an enemy. Cannot occur more often than once every 2 seconds. Red Wrath Vault, Cyclone Strike now conjures a swirling windstorm around you that continuously pulls in nearby enemies, damaging and shattering their armor. Hitting enemies with knockback effects extends the duration of the storm. Clashing Sky, pants. Flying Kick now leaps to a target location, stomping the ground, damaging nearby enemies to knock them airborne. If the stomp hits an enemy, it will be performed again. Tranquil Hawk, head. Shield of Zen also increases your attack speed by 9.5% for 3 seconds when hitting enemies with a dash skill up to maximum 28.5%. Striker's Boding, shoulders. Flying Kick also deals 14% increased damage for 3 seconds when it hits an enemy, up to a maximum 42%. Necromancer, Sculptus, main hand. Corpse Explosion also restores
Restores 3.8% of your maximum life when it hits an enemy is afflicted with fear. Cannot occur more often than once every second. Impalement Wall offhand. Bone Spike also generates 1 corpse when it deals damage. Cannot occur more often than once every second. Petrification. Corpse Explosion also increases your movement speed by 42% for 2.6 seconds. Dirge Pants. Dark Curse now conjures an aura of despair around you, continuously damaging enemies within the area and stacking despair that reduces the damage they deal and causes them to become feared at max stacks. Chemsklet. Head. Bone Spikes now calls an undead bone beast mount for you to charge forward on, damaging and knocking back enemies in your path. Brazen Sepulchre. Shoulders. Corpse Explosion now detonates nearby corpses, damaging nearby enemies and conjuring bone spirits to swarm you. So they that's interesting. Tempest, Mistcarver, main hand. Storm Fury also deals 1.6% increased damage for every 1% increased movement speed you have up to a maximum 48%. Fang of the Unmoored, offhand. Vortex also deals 1.6% increased damage for every 1% increased movement speed you have up to a maximum 48%. Marin's Call. Vortex now conjures a swirling water torrent around you that continuously pulls in nearby enemies, damaging and causing them to become drenched. Water Clogs Pants. Tidal Rush now disperses your form into water, increasing your movement speed and damage done to drenched enemies. Additionally, when you come in contact with an enemy, they become drenched and you conjure a Zephyr to fight by your side. Squall Guard Head. Tidal Rush also grants you a shield for 3 seconds that absorbs 50 damage and provides immunity to loss of control. Tempered Tempest Shoulders. Storm Fury now conjures a storm around you, causing lightning to strike nearby enemies every few yards traveled. Additionally, Zephyrs within the storm will also be struck by lightning and shocking nearby enemies. Warlock. Unending Darkness, main hand. Devouring Darkness also restores all your sacrificial power when casting its sacrificial power ability, but its damage is reduced by 30%. Harmonized Scream. Offhand. Warp Strike now fuses your soul girdle with dark magic, causing your primary attacks to resonate with it, unleashing blasts of dark energy, damaging nearby enemies and causing them to take increased damage from you. Hardened Heart Chest. Spiteful Sacrifice also increases your primary attack speed by 10% for 2 seconds when it hits an enemy, stacking up to 3 times. Itinerant Spite. Spiteful Sacrifice now powers you, causing your primary attacks to hurl swords of dark magic, damaging enemies and applying malignant shadows. Additionally, every third primary attack causes you to blink forward in the direction you are moving. Grief Muzzle Head. Devouring Darkness also increases your critical hit chance by 22.8% for 3 seconds when casting its sacrificial power ability. Undreamt Calamity Shoulders. Devouring Darkness now deals damage to nearby enemies, consuming malignant shadows, causing them to instantly take the remaining damage while also granting you increased damage for each stack consumed. Wizard Perpetual Horizon, main hand. Black Hole's cooldown is reduced by 0.8 seconds when hitting a chilled enemy. Cannot occur more often than once every 2 seconds. Infinitesimal Authority, offhand. Black Hole now conjures an icy vortex surrounding an ally that follows them, continuously pulling in and damaging enemies. Hitting chilled enemies extends the duration and expands the radius of the vortex. Star Metal Unity Chest. Meteor also deals 12% increased damage with each successive hit against the same enemy within 3 seconds, up to a maximum of 48%. Rhyme Grotto Pants. Meteor now conjures an area of continuously falling ice shards that follows an ally, damaging nearby enemies. The number of ice shards increases for each chilled enemy in the area. Meteor damage increased by 18%. Galid Dune Watcher Head. Scorch now launches a large boulder of ice that accelerates and grows as it rolls forward. The boulder explodes upon impact with an enemy, continually damaging and chilling enemies within the area, causing them to become frozen at max stats. Stinging Thaw Shoulders. Meteor's critical hit chance is increased by 28.5% against chilled enemies. Holy cow. So, I see some interesting essences. There will definitely be some interesting builds. I kind of feel like some of them are a little bit lackluster, as always. There's like some that shine better than the other essences. We have Revenant Marking. There's going to be Raining Harmony, Born Ablaze, and Temptation's End. I'm pretty sure those are 3 Phantom Markets that were already out and they are returning. Then we have it. Also, the Revenant Market includes a uniquely new Diablo-themed skin evoking the Lord of Terror's likeness. Additionally, you can customize the color of Temptation's End after upgrading it. They are removing legendary fixes. They are removing legendary Essences again. I was trying to see if it would work, to see what legendary fixes were being removed, but I think I'll cover that in another video whenever they actually release it. They are making changes to Accursed Tower challenge optimization, improved battleground PvP matchmaking. This is awesome. They're making changes to battleground in an intent to make sure you're matched against players of comparable strength, creating a more consistent and competitive PvP experience. We're refining how armor and armor penetration contributes to PvP matchmaking and combat strength evaluation. These attributes now more accurately reflect player strength, leading to more balanced matches, especially when a player's overall power is not represented by just Resonant. They are updating the engine for Diablo Immortal in September. You can update ahead of time starting August 24th. And by completing the update early, you can claim 10 legendary crests from an in-game event. You can only claim it once.